So let's now work on that all posts page. In the views.py file, that is that posts function here. Now there, we are doing something very simple right now. We're passing this all posts list to the all posts variable in the template. Well, this all posts list is now an empty list, and therefore this won't work anymore. Instead, we now want to get all the posts from the database. And of course, that's fairly straightforward. We can add all posts here and keep that name if we want to, and then reach out to post, to the post model, objects, all. And this gives us all the posts. Now we can also sort those in any way if we want to. And actually, I'll do that here. I'll also order those by date in a descending order to put the latest post first. But that's of course optional. With that, we're now having a list of all the posts from the database, and we're passing this to all posts in the template. So now if we save this, and we reload this posts page, we see all 3 posts here. Now for a single post. If I click on that single post, we get an error, and that makes a lot of sense because we're clearly failing to fetch that single post now. So now we want to work on post detail. And there, before, we basically worked with all posts to find that one post with the correct slug. Now, of course, that's not what we want to do anymore. I want to get rid of that line of code here. And we can now also get rid of all posts altogether here, since we're not using that anymore. We can get rid of that datetime import, since we're not using the date function here anymore. And we can get rid of that helper getDate function as well, to slim this file down. And now back in post detail, I still want to get my identified post, so this name which I used here. And now I want to get a single post. And you learned how that works. We can use the post model, and then objects, and then get instead of all. And this gets us a single post. And here we then can tell Django how this post should be identified. In this case, that slug, so that slug field in our post model, the value there should be equal to the slug value we're receiving here. So slug on the right side is this argument, slug on the left side is the name of that property, of that attribute in our model. Now, of course, this could fail, and therefore we could wrap this in a try except block to show a 404 page if it does fail. But I did show you a little shortcut which you can use instead, where we import from Django shortcuts, not just render, but also getObject or 404. And with that imported, we can get our post here simply by instead calling getObject or 404, pass in our post model here to let Django know for which model it should find an entry in the database, and then our condition, which is slug equals slug. With that, we get the identified post. And if we now save this, we should not get this error anymore, but instead a different error related to our image key, which again makes sense here because for post detail, I'm also accessing post.image here. That was correct before. Now it's .image_name. So we should fix this. And with this fixed, if we now reload, that's looking better. So now that is generally working, and we are outputting all that post data again. But of course, we also have the tags, and we have the author model. And I am outputting the author here, for example. I'm simply outputting post author like this. And because in the author model I added str, this is actually outputting my full name, so that's good. But maybe we want to make this clickable, that name. We want to turn this into a link, and when you click it, we open the mail client. And maybe we also want to show the tags of a post. Let's say here on that post page, below that title. And therefore, these are the next steps I want to take in the next lectures.